Hello, you're tuned in to Word Power, the podcast where we learn new English words every day.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Zia.
And I'm Jane. It's so good to be back with all of you. Today we're diving into something super important, especially if you're a student or anyone who needs to communicate effectively, words for clarity and accuracy.
That's right, Jane. We've talked in past episodes, like way back in episode 2 and 3, about building your vocabulary and the mechanics of language. Today, we're building on that foundation by focusing on specific words that aren't just big words, but powerful words when it comes to making your communication crystal clear and undeniably correct.
Exactly. Because it's not enough to just use a lot of words, is it? You have to use the right words. I mean, how many times have you read something or even written something yourself and realized it just wasn't quite hitting the mark? It felt fuzzy or open to interpretation.
All the time. And in academic or professional settings, that fuzziness can be really costly. So we've got a fantastic list of words today that will help you cut through that ambiguity and ensure your message is received exactly as you intend.
Absolutely. Let's jump right in with our first word, which is accurate. Zia, how do you define accuracy in communication?
Okay, accurate. Let's first talk pronunciation. It's accurate. 3 syllables, not accurate, which I hear sometimes. Accurate. When something is accurate, it means it's free from error or defect. It's exact and precise. Think about it in terms of data or facts. If your research findings are accurate, they reflect the truth without distortion.
So, like if you're reporting the number of people who attended an event, being accurate means giving the exact count, not an estimation or a rounded figure, unless you explicitly state it's an estimation, right?
Precisely, and that leads into spelling. Accurate is interesting because it has a double, Accurate. A good tip for remembering the double is to think of account or accord. It's often followed by another C in English. Visualizing the word can also help, like mentally snapping a photo of it.
I like that. Visualizing really helps me with spelling. My trick for accurate is thinking a cat can unroll ropes at the end. Super silly, but it sticks.
Hey, whatever works. And the power of accurate is that it builds trust. If your information is consistently accurate, people will rely on what you say and write. It's fundamental for credibility, which we'll touch on later.
Totally. Next up, let's talk about explicit. This one is crucial for instructions, I think. Zia, what's the lowdown on explicit?
Explicit. Pronunciation is Explicit. The stress is on the second syllable, explicit. When something is explicit, it means it's stated clearly and in detail, leaving no room for confusion or doubt. It's the opposite of implicit, where things are implied or hinted at.
Ah, okay, so if a teacher says, your essay needs an explicit thesis statement, they mean it needs to be directly stated, not something the reader has to guess or infer from your introduction.
Exactly. Or if you're giving directions, an explicit direction would be turn left at the red mailbox, then take the second right onto Oak Street. Not go down a bit and turn when you see the big tree. That's vague, not explicit.
Oh, I've definitely been on the receiving end of those vague directions, and it usually ends up with me lost. So, spelling explicit, Explicit, that one seems pretty straightforward phonetically, thankfully.
It is, thank goodness. No tricky double letters there. Just remember the I before the C and I before the tit. Using explicit ensures that your audience doesn't have to read between the lines or make assumptions. It removes ambiguity, which is so important in academic writing, where you need to present clear arguments and findings.
It's about leaving no stone unturned in terms of making your point, really. All right, moving on to coherent. This one feels like it's about flow and organization. What do you think, Zia?
Coherent, pronounced coherent. The stress is again on the second syllable, coherent. When something is coherent, it means its parts are logically connected and consistent, forming a united, understandable whole. Think of it like a well-structured argument or a smoothly flowing paragraph.
So if you're writing an essay and you jump from one idea to a completely unrelated one without any transition, that would be incoherent, right? Like your ideas are all over the place.
Exactly. An incoherent argument is really hard to follow and it suggests a lack of clear thinking. But a coherent argument builds logically from one point to the next, with clear connections and transitions, making it easy for the reader to grasp your reasoning.
I've definitely received feedback that my arguments sometimes lacked coherence when I was in school. It taught me the importance of outlining and ensuring each paragraph served a clear purpose in advancing my overall point. How do we spell coherent?
Coherent, two T's but separate. It's not too tricky, but sometimes people might accidentally put an R in there. Just remember the her in the middle, Coherent. The better you can make your ideas flow and connect, the more convincing and understandable your communication will be. It's about presenting a unified message.
That's a great tip for spelling. Now let's talk about credible. This word really speaks to the trustworthiness of information, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Credible. Stress on the first syllable. When we say something or someone is credible, we mean they are believable or trustworthy. This is absolutely vital in academic research, journalism, or any field where information accuracy is paramount.
So if I'm doing research for a paper, I need to make sure my sources are credible. That means looking for things like reputable publishers, authors with expertise, and peer-reviewed articles, right?
Exactly. You wouldn't base a major scientific claim on a random blog post, for example. You'd seek out peer-reviewed journals, established academic texts, or statements from recognized experts. Using credible sources lends credibility to your work, and it's not just about sources. Your own arguments need to be presented in a credible way, supported by evidence.
That makes so much sense. I remember professors constantly emphasizing source credibility. It really impacts the strength of your entire argument. Spelling credible is Credible. I always remember it because it has credit in the beginning, and you get credit for being believable.
That's a fantastic mnemonic, Jane. I like that. It's a great way to link the meaning to the spelling. Building credibility in your communication means always striving for accuracy, providing evidence, and presenting your ideas in a logical, unbiased way. It's a culmination of many of these words working together.
Such a good point. These words are all interconnected. Speaking of which, our next phrase is clarify, but we're specifically thinking about it in the context of review. It's about refining, isn't it?
Yes, clarify. To clarify means to make something less confused and more comprehensible. When we talk about clarifying during review, it's about the iterative process of making your communication better, clearer, more precise.
So, after I've written an essay, I go back and clarify any sentences that might be confusing, or simplify complex jargon, or even restructure a paragraph for better flow.
Exactly that. It's asking yourself, is this absolutely as clear as it can be? Is there any way this could be misunderstood? This is where you might replace vague words with more precise ones, or break down long, convoluted sentences into shorter, punchier ones. It's a critical step in effective communication, especially for academic work.
I can't tell you how many times I've written something, thought it was brilliant, and then reread it a day later and thought, what was I even trying to say here? That moment is when you need to clarify. Spelling clarify is Clarify. Fairly straightforward, just remember the Y at the end for the fifth sound.
Right. And it's an action verb, which is important. You do the clarifying. You make it clearer. It's an active process. A good tip for spelling any word ending in fifth is to remember that pattern. Notify, magnify, simplify. That fifth ending is pretty consistent.
Oh, that's a useful pattern. I like that. Okay, up next we have objective. This one feels like it's about impartiality, doesn't it?
You're spot on, Jane. Objective. Pronounced objective. Pronounced objective. Put stress on the second syllable. Objective. To be objective means you're not influenced by personal feelings or opinions when considering and representing facts. It's about presenting information in a neutral, unbiased way.
So, if I'm writing a report about a contentious issue, being objective would mean presenting all sides of the argument fairly without letting my personal beliefs sway how I describe them.
Precisely. In academic writing, especially in fields like science, history, or social sciences, objectivity is paramount. You need to report findings, analyze events, or present theories based on evidence, not on what you wish were true. It's about letting the facts speak for themselves.
That's a huge challenge for a lot of people, myself included sometimes. It's hard to separate your emotions from what you're trying to convey, but it's so important for credibility, going back to that word. How do we spell objective?
Objective. It's pretty phonetic. A good spelling tip here is to think of the word object. An object is a thing, a fact, something tangible. To be objective is to focus on the object of discussion rather than your subjective feelings about it.
Oh, that's a clever way to remember it. I'll definitely use that. It really emphasizes the factual aspect. And finally, let's wrap up our word list with precise. This one feels like the ultimate level of clarity. How do we spell precise?
Precise. It follows a similar pattern to explicit with that CISE ending. A good tip for remembering it is thinking pref as in before and sees can sound like size. You want to get the size just right, perfectly exact.
That's another great mnemonic, Zia. So we've gone through accurate, explicit, coherent, credible, clarify, objective, and precise. These are 7 incredibly powerful words that can truly transform your communication, especially in academic settings.
They absolutely can. And to tie it back to our earlier episodes on vocabulary building, the best way to master these words isn't just knowing their definitions, it's about actively integrating them into your speaking and writing. Practice saying them aloud, focusing on pronunciation, and use our spelling tips.
Yes! Start by consciously looking for opportunities to use them. Maybe you're writing an email or contributing to a discussion. Instead of saying make it clearer, try clarify. Instead of it was right, try it was accurate or even precise.
Exactly. And when you're reading, pay attention to how authors use these words. How do they achieve coherence in their arguments? How do they establish credibility? Noticing these things in others' writing will really help you incorporate them into your own.
I find that keeping a vocabulary journal helps too. You can write down the word, its pronunciation, a quick definition, and then a sentence or two using it in context. That active recall really cements it for me.
That's a brilliant tip, Jane. And for spelling, beyond our mnemonics, breaking words into syllables can be a huge help, like accurate or coherent. It makes them less daunting. And honestly, just plain old writing them down multiple times helps build muscle memory.
Definitely. It's like learning anything new. Repetition is key. And remember, the goal isn't just to sound smarter, it's to be understood better, to ensure your message, your arguments, your ideas land exactly as you intend them to.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Clear and accurate communication is a skill that will serve you well in every aspect of life, not just academically. It empowers you to express yourself with confidence and conviction.
So, take these words, internalize them, and start using them today. You'll be amazed at the difference it makes in how you perceive and how you're perceived.
That's all for this episode of our podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us on this journey to better communication.
We hope you found these insights helpful. Keep practicing, keep learning, and we'll catch you next time. Bye for now.
See you!
Hello, you're tuned in to Word Power, the podcast where we learn new English words every day.